There is a deep truth about happiness that many people overlook. It does not grow by keeping, it grows by giving. We often think happiness is about collecting more achievements, more possessions, more recognition. But the secret is, the more you hold tightly to happiness for yourself, the faster it slips away. The more you share it, the more it multiplies. Real happiness expands in the space between hearts. It deepens when your life is not just about you, but about how you show up for others. Think about the moments in your life when you felt truly fulfilled. Were there the times when you got something new, or were there the times when you gave something of yourself? Maybe it was when you helped a friend through a hard time, or when you taught someone a skill that changed their life. Maybe it was when you surprised a loved one with kindness, or when you gave your time to a cause greater than yourself. Those moments glow in our memory because they connect us to something bigger. They remind us that happiness is not meant to be a private treasure. It is meant to flow. Purpose lives in this flow of giving. It is the understanding that your life matters not only because of what you achieve, but because of how your presence touches others. Every smile you create, every hand you extend, every word of encouragement you offer, these are the seeds of happiness. And they grow not just in the lives of others, but in your own. The world tries to convince us that giving means losing. That if you give too much of yourself, you'll run out. But the opposite is true. When you give from a place of authenticity, from the overflow of who you are, you don't deplete yourself. You replenish yourself. You discover new depths of joy, new reserves of strength, new clarity about why you are here. There's a certain light that shines in people who live to uplift others. It's not a light you can fake, and it's not a light you can buy. It is the glow of purpose, the glow of knowing that your life is making a difference. And you don't have to stand on a stage or lead a movement to live this way. You can make a difference in the quietest, simplest ways. A kind word to a stranger, a patient ear for a friend, a moment of understanding when someone feels unseen. Even small acts of giving carry extraordinary power. One act of kindness can change the entire course of someone's day. One word of encouragement can awaken hope in someone who is ready to give up. And what you may not realize is that in giving to others, you also give to yourself. You remind yourself that you are connected, that you are needed, that your presence carries weight in this world. That realization brings a happiness deeper than anything material could offer. But let's be clear, giving does not mean losing yourself. It does not mean pouring out so much that you are left empty. True giving comes from fullness, not from lack. It comes from knowing your own worth, honoring your own needs, and then letting the overflow spill into the lives of others. When you give from a place of love rather than obligation, from choice rather than pressure, then giving becomes a source of joy, not exhaustion. Purpose is never just about personal success. Success without service feels hollow. You may reach every goal you set, but if you never touch another life, it won't feel complete. The richest lives are the ones woven with connection, contribution, and compassion. When you uplift others, you lift yourself. When you light someone else's path, you illuminate your own. Think of it this way. Happiness is like a flame. If you guard it too closely, trying to keep it just for yourself, it flickers and fades. But if you use it to light other candles, it grows brighter and spreads warmth everywhere. The more candles you light, the more radiant the room becomes, and your flame never goes out. That is the power of giving. And here's the beauty. You don't need wealth or fame or grand resources to give. What people need most cannot be bought. They need compassion, understanding, presence, encouragement. These are gifts every single one of us can offer. Sometimes your smile is enough. Sometimes your listening ear is enough. Sometimes your simple act of showing up is enough. And when you begin to live this way, happiness stops being something you chase. It becomes something you create. It becomes a cycle. The more you give, the more joy you feel. The more joy you feel, the more you give. And before long, your life becomes a reflection of purpose. A life that is not measured by how much you took, but by how much you gave. The truth is, we are not here to simply survive. We are here to serve in the ways only we can. And when you understand that your life is not only about your happiness, but about the happiness you spark in others, you tap into a purpose that will carry you through every season. Because happiness grows when you give. And that growth is endless. If there is one practice that has the power to shift your entire life, it is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a polite thank you. It is a way of seeing, a way of living, a way of training your heart to notice what is already good, what is already working, what is already a blessing. So many of us are constantly reaching for what's next. Chasing the next goal, waiting for the next milestone. Before we allow ourselves to feel joy, we say to ourselves, I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I have more money. I'll be happy when I find the right partner. I'll be happy when my life looks different than it does now. And in that waiting, we miss the happiness that is available right here, right now. Gratitude is the key that unlocks that happiness. It teaches us to stop living in the when and start living in the now. Because the truth is, if you cannot appreciate what you already have, you will not suddenly become grateful when you get more. The cycle of wanting will never end. There will always be another mountain to climb, another desire to chase. Gratitude breaks that cycle by anchoring you in the present moment, reminding you that joy is not in the distant future. It is in the breath you are taking right now. Think about this. How often do you pause to notice the simple things that make your life possible? The fact that you woke up this morning. The fact that you are breathing, moving, thinking. The fact that there is food on your table, a roof over your head, people who care about you in ways you may not even see. We take these things for granted because they are constant, and yet these are the very things others are praying for. Gratitude teaches us to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. And when you practice it daily, something shifts inside you. The things that once felt heavy start to feel lighter. The things that once seemed impossible start to feel manageable. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but it changes the way you carry them. It reminds you that even in the midst of struggle, there is something worth appreciating. Even in pain, there can be beauty. Even in loss, there can be lessons. Gratitude helps you find the gift inside the difficulty. And science even shows us that gratitude has the power to rewire the brain. When you practice it consistently, your mind learns to scan for what is good instead of obsessing over what is wrong. It shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. You begin to realize that you are not lacking. You are already rich in countless ways. That richness may not always be measured in money or possessions, but it is measured in love and health, in opportunities, in moments. But here's the important part. Gratitude must be practiced intentionally. It's not enough to feel grateful once in a while. It's about making it a daily habit. That could mean starting your morning by naming 3 things you're thankful for. It could mean keeping a gratitude journal and writing down the moments of joy that might otherwise go unnoticed. It could mean pausing at night before you sleep to reflect on the blessings of the day, no matter how small. These simple acts Shift your focus away from lack and toward abundance. You see, joy flourishes where gratitude lives. If you spend your life focusing on what's missing, you will always feel empty. But if you train your eyes to see what's already here, you will realize how full your life already is. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop dreaming or stop striving. It simply means you celebrate the journey instead of postponing happiness for the destination. Have you ever noticed how children find joy in the simplest things? A butterfly, a puddle, a song, a hug. They don't need perfection to feel wonder. They are naturally grateful because they are fully present. As we grow older, we forget that simplicity. We tell ourselves that life must be bigger, better, faster. But when you return to gratitude, you reclaim that childlike wonder. You begin to see again that the small things are not so small at all. Gratitude also deepens relationships. When you take the time to express genuine appreciation for the people around you, you strengthen your bond with them. Everyone wants to feel seen, valued, and cherished. A simple thank you can change the entire energy of a relationship. Gratitude turns ordinary connections into extraordinary ones because it reminds people and yourself of the love that exists between you. And let me tell you this, gratitude is powerful in moments of lack. It is easy to be thankful when everything is going well, but the true strength of gratitude is revealed when life is hard. When you choose to focus on what remains instead of what you have lost, on what is possible instead of what is broken, gratitude becomes an act of courage. It becomes a declaration that no matter what happens, joy will still find a way to grow in your heart. Every day, life gives you a choice to see what is missing or to see what is present. Gratitude is the choice to see what is present. And when you choose it again and again, day after day, you will find that joy no longer feels like something you have to chase. It becomes a natural part of who you are. Because gratitude and joy are inseparable. When one enters, the other always follows. One of the greatest thieves of joy in today's world is comparison. We live in a time where other people's lives are on display 24/7. You scroll through your phone and see someone announcing a promotion, someone else posting their perfect vacation, another celebrating love, another sharing milestones. And without realizing it, you start to measure your own worth against theirs. You begin to wonder, am I behind? Am I failing? Am I enough? And that quiet questioning steals the peace from your heart. But here's what I want you to remember. Your journey was never meant to look like anyone else's. You are not running their race. You are not living their story. You are on your own path, and every twist, every turn, every delay, every detour is shaping you for the exact life you are meant to live. When you spend your energy comparing, you dishonor the uniqueness of your journey. You miss the beauty of your own becoming. Think of it this way. Flowers in a garden don't bloom all at once. The rose doesn't look at the sunflower and say, why is she taller than me? The sunflower doesn't look at the daisy and say, why does she bloom earlier than me? They simply grow in their own time, in their own way, with their own beauty. And the garden is breathtaking because of that diversity. You are that flower in life's garden. Your timing, your growth, your unfolding, it is yours alone, and it is perfectly right for you. Every struggle you've faced, every setback you've endured, every lesson you've learned has been preparing you for the next step. Nothing in your journey is wasted. The things that delayed you were teaching you patience. The things that hurt you were teaching you resilience. The times you felt lost were teaching you to trust. It all belongs. And when you look at your life through that lens, you begin to understand that you are not behind. You are being prepared. Comparison blinds us to this truth. When you fix your eyes on someone else's path, you can't see the blessings under your own feet. You overlook your own progress because you are too busy measuring it against someone else's highlight reel.